logo and color scheme isn't branding or brand positioning. It is just 25% of your brand positioning and branding as a whole. When you think of brand position, just think of what that a company represents in the minds of consumers. So when you think of a brand, what's that first thing that pops up in your head? Is it the product that pops up? Is it the emotions you feel when you're associated with the brand? Is it the quality of their service? It can be anything and everything, So basically, that thing that pops up in your head when you think of a brand, that is what brand positioning is called. There's so many brands doing all sorts, even doing what you're doing as a company or brand. So it is extremely important for you to position your brand strategically, in the minds of consumers.
What mistakes do you think startups should avoid when positioning their brands?
Avoid being a Me Too brand. Oh, let me paint a scenario. Oh, you know what? My competitors or someone I aspire to be like abroad or even in Nigeria is doing this certain way. I am going to study them and copy everything they are doing so that way I can be as successful as them. That is failure number one. Number two mistake, which is mass markets for everybody and for everybody and for nobody and for everybody. Like I always say, you can have the best brand on paper, you can have the best plan, but execution is everything. If you don't execute, if your messaging isn't right, if your communication isn't appealing, you have wasted your time and effort doing stuff. And it's okay not to get it from the first time. You know what? Let's use this finally as our brand voice or brand tone. So that is the final mistake I would say. Logo and color scheme isn't branding or brand positioning. It is just 25% of your brand positioning and branding as a whole.
How can businesses stand up from competitors while still maintaining their unique brand?
The first step to take is research. A lot of people undermine research. An average person's research, and this is speaking from experience that I've come across, I'm not generalizing here. If I ask them, have they done research? They'll be like, oh, yes, I've looked at this brand on Instagram. This is what I've noticed about them. That is not research. That is glancing through someone's page, So now what you can do, if you're in that kind of competitive industry, I have a formula that I use. You put your direct, you have primary, secondary, and tertiary competitors. You put your direct, that's primary competitors, let's say on an Excel table, for instance, you have them there. You put your secondary and tertiary competitors, you can put them there. You can put your aspirational brands. I don't see them as competitors. I see them as people that, they're basically doing the same. Maybe your clients are buying from them, but you can't compete with them because they're bigger. You understand? So they're more of aspirational brands. You put them on the table. Now, you don't just look at the brand side of things alone. You look at every single thing in this analysis. You start from product to branding to customer communication to website. There's so many metrics you can use. Branding, like I always say, is a process. It's not just, because I've branded my business on paper, I'm done with branding. No, every content you put is branding. Every guest speaker you bring on your panel is branding. Every action or inaction is branding. Branding is embedded in every fiber of your company, internally and externally. In fact, from internally, it actually comes externally. So it is not just, how beautiful or how great the brand looks outside. It's everything's intertwined. It's like a DNA of marketing. It's a DNA of business development.
DNA.
Everywhere. Yes.
How important is it for a brand to have a clear and concise message that resonates with its audience? And how can businesses create one if they don't have, a clear, concise message?
To have a clear and concise message that resonates with your audience, before you get to the point of having a clear message, first understand what the pain point is in your industry. What is the pain point? It might not even be a product-based pain point. It might be a marketing-based pain point. It might be a branding-based pain point. It might be a customer experience-based pain point. So once you have the pain point, you know what? We are going to tie our messaging around this pain point. It is very important you tie your messaging around the pain point, not necessarily the features of your product. Features of your product can be secondary. Branding does not have to be emotional all the time. You are and I always tell people, we are in a time where a lot of customers can sieve through the fluff. They can sieve through all the verbose words. Oh, we exquisite luxury, blah, blah, blah. Trust me, it doesn't mean anything to these people again. They just want their pain to be solved. If you're an aspirational brand or a brand that wants to sell a dream, you key into the pain point of the person who wants that dream. Like, oh, you know what, I want that dream bag, or I want that dream, or whatever. You get the pain point of that person and use it, and also still sell your lifestyle, the aspirational lifestyle that they want to them. You get, so yeah, it doesn't have to be anything too, it can be both functional and emotional intertwined. It doesn't have to be emotional alone or functional alone. So that's one other hack for branding you can use.
How can startups evaluate their current brand positioning and improve it?
So that's
Yes.
another way. So there's so many ways using the metrics I've spoken about. It can be reviews. You can look at reviews of all the companies in your industry. What are people saying?
Reviews.
What are people complaining about the most? Okay, so what are they saying about your own company? What are the reviews saying about your company? Based on the reviews, you can see that, oh, this company is excellent. My company is very good. Another company is poor, or maybe my company is poor. This is what I have to do to become excellent. You get what I mean? So by that, you would
Yeah.
see, if you don't evaluate your company with your competitors, you can never know where you stand. Brand perception. People really don't know what others or customers think of their brands, and there are ways you can do it, or if they even recognize their brands, there are ways they can do it. Instead of engaging influencers solely for the purpose of promoting a product, why
Yeah.
don't you engage influencers to take surveys? They should, for instance, put 5 logos or 5 messaging, on a Word document, for instance, or on a graphics, and say, okay, if you have a payment problem,
I've seen that
what
before.
logo comes to mind? You get what I mean? So that way you see that when you get the result of that survey, oh my God, our clients are going to our competitors when they have this problem. That means we are lacking with this particular feature of our
Yeah.
product. We need to up our game so that way they'll recognize that we have that feature, as opposed to them going to our competitors. You can analyze your brand in so many ways, to evaluate your positioning, and it starts from putting your brand side by side with your primary, secondary, and tertiary competitors, and using certain different metrics, from products to business to customer experience to UI UX to
Mm.
feedback, that's reviews, to product updates, how frequent an update is done. You can use different metrics to see where you stand in your industry, and also how customers perceive you. So the way you can measure customer experience is, as simple as it sounds, surveys are extremely powerful.
Mm.
Surveys, and there's an app called, apart from surveys, which is the traditional one we are experienced with, there is an app or a platform called Hotjar. I don't know if you're familiar with
Oh yes.
Hotjar.
Yes.
So with Hotjar, you can literally see how your consumers move around your website. You can get a feel of their experience, what is making them go to a certain page as opposed to another page. And there's so many tools like that, like Hotjar, that you can use. You can just Google Hotjar and competitors and see which one of their price points fits your budget. But let's go back to the traditional sense, where you don't have to spend a lot of money. Surveys are very powerful. You can do surveys. Now, surveys are not just type any questions and put it out there. Type questions based on what the output you want to get. If you're measuring, okay, customer experience from, let's say, for a particular feature, for instance, for a particular feature of your product that is really, really used, you can say, okay, you know what, what is your experience like using these features?
Mm.
How do you feel? How do you think we can be better? Or have you used any other tool that is better? Because you'll be surprised. Some customers use 2 different service providers for just to get one, what's the word? To solve a pain point. They have 2 options because they're always like, you know what, this option might not be the best for this, or that option might not give me what I want. So
Yes.
do feedback as regularly as you can. Surveys, throw it out there. Give people, okay, you know what, for taking up the surveys, you get 50% off our product, you get 20% off our product. Have a, like you said, feedback loop system where every other month or every month, basically, understand what people are saying for a particular feature or your product in general. And once you have that, you can able to tweak based on the data, and find ways to make your customer experience tighter and better. So yes, Google Hotjar, Google tools like Hotjar, and yeah, you'll find them there. A lot of people underestimate the traditional phone call or meeting people. As odd as it sounds, don't have
The
done a
best
lot of
way.
courses, a lot of that is one of the best ways. Like for instance, let me give you a practical example. Maybe B2B startup, and there's this particular company that gives you like maybe 5% of your revenue, which is a large chunk. The others are maybe point something percent. Sit down with them at least once a month. The people like how is the experience like? Like get proper feedback, do that monthly or quarterly and see face to face, not even survey. So as they're speaking, you're writing traditional sense, or maybe you have a survey that you want them to fill right in front of you or something, and or take the founder or the team lead out for tea. I need a favor from you. Please, your team members that use these products, I have some questions. I need them to answer honestly. Yes, there's so many ways. Just communicate with who you want feedback with and in different ways that you can, and that's it. Yeah.